I was able to negotiate a 65% increase from my initial job offer. In today's video, I'm gonna walk you step by step on what you need to do before, during, and after the interview process so you too can increase your salary. I want to stay until the end because I'm saving my best tip for last. If you're new here, hi, I'm Tabitha, your Harvard MBA best, here to help you fast track landing that dream job, negotiating top salary, and building real wealth. Let's get into it. Before the interview. A lot of folks think that the negotiations start after the job offer has been extended. You couldn't be more wrong. You have to start before you even get on the call with the recruiter. Tip number 1, be ready when the recruiter asks you how much you want to make. There's a high likelihood that the recruiter will ask you this question at the end of your first interview. Let's be real, this can be an awkward or an uneasy interaction, especially if you don't know what to say. There are different schools of thoughts on this, but I strongly believe that you should not throw out the first number. When a recruiter asks you what you want to make, you should respond by asking, how much has been budgeted for this role? You don't want to shoot yourself in the foot by saying a number that's on the lower end of the pay band or below the pay band altogether. Put the onus on the recruiter to share the number first. More times than not, they're willing to share the pay range. Now, I suggest that you keep that number in mind, but know that employers often have some wiggle room for the right person. Tip number 2, package your skills. Okay, now that you know your market rate, you need to know how to package your skills so you come across as a valuable asset to the organization. And you need to be dropping this at each touch point along the process. Make yourself an irresistible asset that demands a higher paycheck. So here are some examples of what that might sound like. I increased employee retention by 40%, which reduced recruiting costs by $1 million. Here's another example. I increased sales and product adoption to drive an incremental $4 million in revenue for my previous organization. When you ask for 50 to 100K more once you've gotten that offer, it sounds reasonable because of the value you're capable of delivering to this organization. Now, an important disclaimer, if you sell the team on your ability to produce these types of results, you have to deliver on these promises. During the interview, tip number 3.
But I always say, be so good they can't ignore you.
Steve Martin, 13 Primetime Emmy Award nominated comedian. When he was asked, why are you so successful in your career? He immediately replied, be so good they can't ignore you. If you don't take anything else from this video, please hear me, friends. Employers will not ignore excellence and will do whatever it takes to get you on their team if you blow them away. True story. I have a friend, we'll call her Hired Hannah, who went into a job interview and blew everyone away. Y'all, she had 10 rounds of interviews and she nailed each and every one. When that initial offer came, it was for $150,000. She knew what she could bring to the organization. And by the end of the negotiations, using the tips and tactics we're talking about in this video, she was able to increase her pay offer to $275,000. People don't talk about this stuff. It is happening behind closed doors. Somebody's life is going to be changed after this video. Now let's talk about after the interview. Tip number 4, know your value. A major part of getting a bigger salary is knowing your worth. Make sure you've done your market research so you know your industry comps for your city, industry, and level. Use platforms like level.fyi, Glassdoor, and informational calls to understand what the industry norms at this time. If you have a personal relationship with someone who works at your desired company, do not be afraid to ask them what they know about the pay band. You're going to use all this information along with tip number 5 to get you ahead. Tip number 5, leverage multiple offers. Hopefully, you've been interviewing with other companies and you've received more than one offer at the same time. Pro tip, if you receive an offer and another company you're interested in, they're just taking their sweet time, let them know immediately that you received this other offer. This will not only speed up the process, but make you more attractive because human nature. People just make the assumption if someone else wants you, they've identified that you're highly capable of doing the job, and now you're more desirable to them. Use the other offer as leverage. Maybe it has a higher base, bonus structure, stock units, vacation time. Lay it all on the table and maximize so you can get the biggest salary package possible. Tip number 6, negotiate beyond the salary. See, friends, salary is just one piece of the pie. Think about the benefits, equity, stock units, work flexibility, thinking about working from home 1, 2, 3 days per week, working only 4 days per week, professional development, getting a career or executive coach. Guys, the list goes on and on. So think about the entire package and make sure it aligns with the life you want to design. Tip number 7, always counter. One of my favorite quotes is, "Let us never negotiate out of fear, but let us never fear to negotiate," by John F. Kennedy. I was having a career chat with an MBA student. We'll call her Settling Sarah. She got a job offer from a tech company, which was great given her background. And she mentioned that everyone else took the package as is because it was offered as the standard for all MBA students. Like my mom always says, we are the head, not the tail. So I suggested to Sarah to negotiate a sign-on bonus because this is literally the easiest part for an employer to tag on. It's not a reoccurring expense, it's a one-time hit, and they often have wiggle room here. Using the tactics we're using in this video. And y'all, she got an extra $40K sign-on bonus just because she asked. She was just as shocked as many of you might be from hearing this story. But the reality is, a sign-on bonus is the easiest part to negotiate in your package. It's a one-time expense, so it's not reoccurring for the employer. That's usually where they have some discretion and some wiggle room for top talent that they just don't want to lose. The sobering reality is American women typically earn 82 cents for every dollar earned by men. That's not okay. African Americans will earn 79 cents to their white counterparts. That's not okay. And if you're a Black woman, it's 64 cents to the dollar. That's not okay. But don't let these stats discourage you, rather motivate you to ask for what you're worth. Many times, it's just a confidence thing stopping you from asking. So today, I am giving you permission to ask for more money. Leverage the skills we've talked about in this video, and you will be just fine. The worst they can say is no, but they won't rescind your offer if you're professional. As a matter of fact, most recruiters are expecting you to negotiate, so they've held back some of the package for that conversation. Obviously, don't go asking for $1 million or something that's ridiculous.
$1 million.
That's why the research, talking to insiders, and knowing your worth is so important in being successful in this negotiation game. Bonus tip number 8. Be willing to walk away. See, friends, I took a class at Harvard Business School called The Art of Negotiation, which introduced a powerful concept called BATNA, which stands for Best Alternative to a Negotiated Agreement. Think of BATNA as having a plan B in your back pocket during a negotiation. So if things don't go as planned in the negotiation process, you've got a solid backup. What I learned from that class is the person who is willing to walk away has the upper hand. That's why, if possible, it's best to interview and negotiate when you have a current job. If you don't have a current job, your BATNA can also be another job offer. It could be living off your savings, or it could even be unemployment until you find something that's more aligned with your salary expectations. Let's bring this conversation all together and let me tell you a story about a close friend that we'll call Josie. Josie found a company that really excited her, and she was just thrilled at the prospect of potentially working there. The people were great, the role was great, it just didn't meet her salary expectations. Now, there was a lot of back and forth after the offer was extended, trying to get to that number, and the reality is she's a mom of 4, and she needed to make sure that she could provide for her family. Luckily, Josie knew her worth. She had savings, and she had a supportive husband that would stand behind her decision either way. Ultimately, because that company wasn't willing to give her what she was worth, she decided to walk away. When she called me, I told her I was proud of her, and it was a company's loss by not figuring out the numbers. Friends, that afternoon, the company realized that she was so good that they could not say no. So they came back after she declined, after she walked away, to offer her more than what she asked for. Look at God. She's now thriving at this company, making the salary that is appropriate for her skills and background. If you like this video, you're gonna love this video that walks you step by step on how to answer the most important interview question. Tell me about yourself. You are brilliant and you got this. See you in the next video.